We haven't really seen you since other than a handful of fall ball post games. So why don't you start us with a little bit of catching up?
Yeah, obviously we're less than a week away from heading to Mexico. It's an exciting trip. Really good teams. First time that we've taken our team on a trip like this, so thrilled about that. And then we're going to go directly to Clearwater for I think what many think is probably the best tournament of the year until we get to postseason play. So really grateful for our administration to allow us to do this. Our girls are, there's a lot of planning that goes on in these things to make sure we're taken care of in school and make sure that we're being fed well and taken care of and we're healthy and all that. So besides the softball is always the easiest part. It's all the other stuff. So there's been a lot of planning for well over a year to get to this point. So we've been back now. I believe we reported back January 12th, the 11th or 12th, reported back very, very well. Probably the best return to practice of any of my time here. So, and we made that important. We talked to them about what the expectations were. I think you can probably put a little bit of stuff on the fact that we probably have the deepest team that we've ever had, and people want to play. I mean, they came here to play. So we came back well, very happy. Healthy at this point, a few little nicks, but that's gonna happen. We've got some tough kids, so they'll play through that stuff. But I think we're bringing a really good team to the table. A lot of experience, a lot of new faces, which we've kind of talked through in the fall, but a lot of high quality kids, elite softball players. They've put themselves in a position that I could say to you that this is probably the closest team that we've ever had at this point in a year. Obviously teams get closer and closer as the season goes, and you start taking bus trips and plane flights and hotel rooms and lots of meals together. So we've got that, but we've worked really hard this off season, knowing that there was going to be a lot of change this past year, had a lot of new implementations, and one of the most important one was after 7 years, about I think in my second year, I put a Post-it note on my credenza and it said the Cowgirl Way, and I just wanted to describe to somebody that knew nothing about Oklahoma State softball what the Cowgirl Way was. Well, after 7 years, we've identified that. We've logoed that. There's 3 words that came to mind after 7 years was relentless, excellence, and passion. And I think that describes the people before us, and I'm hopeful that it'll describe the people after us. And so we've identified that. We're going to start really branding that. I think our girls have really bought into that, and they haven't known about it long. They've known that we've been working on it, but it feels really good to have that done so that I have a foundational piece that I can always go back to when people aren't meeting or exceeding the standard. I can just say, hey, this is all it is. And it's complicated and it's a lot, but it's to the point, it's clear, and it makes sense in all of our minds. So with all the little things that we've had, that's been a big thing, along with the new coach that we've added, 14 new players. It's been wild. So and just continuing to grow. The one thing that I'm not going to make a mistake on this year is I've been clear in reminding our team that we still don't have anything that anybody wants. We really don't. We don't have anything, and so we're still fighting and clawing and kicking at the shins of everyone we're chasing, and that list has shrunk. but it's our job to stay up there in that top group and then to do everything that we can to overtake. So excited for this journey. It's part of the best thing about coaching is starting a new journey each year. Not having, it doesn't matter what's happened in the previous 3 years or the previous 7 years, this being our 8th year. None of that really matters to this team right now. What matters is their team. Their motto is all one. That's their motto. And I love it. I think it encapsulates the clarity that we're trying to have. It encapsulates everything that they want to accomplish, and I'm excited to see what this team can do.
We'll open it up to questions.
You talk about, not having anything that anybody else wants, and I know we talked a little bit about that last year. Does that kind of help eliminate some of the pressure of being preseason top 5, or does that kind of bring its own pressures?
Yeah, I think there's probably some pressure there. And I think these kids are normal. I mean, they're regular people, I try to encourage them to not get caught up in that stuff. We haven't even really talked about it. I've never had one conversation about the rankings. I don't read a lot of stuff. You guys are all great writers, but I'm sorry, I don't read everything unless somebody sends it to me and that kind of stuff. But I really don't seek any of that stuff out, because as much good as you can find some stuff you don't want to find. And so I just try to stay away. And so I've tried to relay that message to them. But last year, I think we did talk about that a little bit. And we started playing early on a little timid. And I couldn't figure out why this talented team was playing like this. And it just hit me that we were trying to act like we were the chasee. And we're still the chaser. And I can remember having that conversation with our team. We're not defending anything. You defend the country. You don't defend a good season. Even a team like OU, they're not. That season's over. And I guarantee it's the same thing that's being said there. You haven't earned anything yet. You've earned this ranking because of the past, but you got to go back it up, right? So I've just tried to remind them that we don't have anything that anyone wants, except a lot of cool people. That's what we've got, and they happen to be really good at softball.
Kenny, can you, with the newcomers, can you talk us through what your lineup looks like right now? If you've got an idea on pitching rotation, how that's going to look?
Yeah, the pitching. Starting with the pitching. I'm like, wow, this is the best staff that we've had here, on paper for sure. Last year's staff was pretty dang good. When you really look at Kelly and Miranda and Morgan Day, it turned out to be really good. So that this group has to exceed that for me to call them the best staff that we've ever had here. But they have the talent. They have the arm talent. They have a really good coach, and they have a team around them that's going to help them. So we'll start with Kelly. Kelly's back again. She's informed me that she's going to return for a 6th year. So that's pretty awesome. Excited to have her there. To be saying that. We are going to have Lexi Kilfoyle, who transferred in from Alabama. For those of you who don't know, she threw a perfect game against Georgia last year on a Monday night, the ESPN SEC Monday night game. That's no joke when you can do that in that conference against a Georgia team that's known for their offense. So she brings a lot of experience. I got a chance to recruit her when I was at Florida when she was very young. And so I think that relationship then kind of helped us in this process. She was highly recruited out of the portal again, so we were able to win that battle there. And then followed up with 2 kids that right now would be the 3-4, however you want to list it out. We've got a transfer from Virginia Tech and Ivy Rosenberry, who I think is a hidden gem. She has she's a power arm. She's, when she throws in our inter squads, it's 68 to 71. It's been some 72s occasionally. And to be honest, when she's throwing that hard, she's probably not as good. She needs to probably pitch in the 67 to 69 range. Her ball has more life there. But she didn't get a very good opportunity at Virginia Tech. She just was behind a really good Keely Richard kid that ate up most of their innings. We do it a little different here. We do try to break our innings up, so that's going to open up for a third arm. And then we have Kyra Aycock, is a freshman, highly recruited kid, who is a power arm, and has probably opened my eyes in a different way than I thought I would see to start with. I just thought she was going to struggle at first. She still may, but I thought she would struggle with just being away from home. Her family's really close. She's kind of a introverted kid around me, but I'm starting to see a side of her that I just absolutely love and adore. Our girls have really taken a liking to her fast, and they she's a kid that didn't wear a lot of makeup when she got here and didn't do her hair, fancy ways. And so I've seen different texts from them where they're putting makeup on her and doing stuff. And it's what I love about this. It's kind of cool, it's stuff that nobody really knows about, but we're getting to watch this evolve. So I'm proud of her because she looks like she hasn't had a bad day here, which is rare for a freshman. She just happy-go-lucky and getting better, and John really likes her. We probably can't throw her and Ivy in the same days because they're very similar, so we'll kind of try to spread those guys out. But I foresee us using 4. We also have, I wouldn't put her in a different category. Bailey Runner is a Oklahoma kid who is getting better and gives us fits every day. And she has a little different look than both of Kyra and Ivy. She's more rise ball and spinny, pretty firm too. It's upper 60, mid to upper 60s. Strong kid, worked her tail off here. So I don't know how we're going to use her yet, but we've had a lot of talks about we may spread some innings out here, especially early. We want to take care of Kelly. We want to take care of Lexi. I think they're probably, as of right now, the inning eaters on this staff, but we got to take care of those other kids.
Are you seeing the necessary growth out of Tatum that you guys expected at this point?
Well, Tatum's out the whole year, so she had shoulder labrum surgery right when we got back. We took a little risk and tried to rehab it first to see if we could get through that, and we couldn't. She couldn't. She's a tough kid, so she thought she could maybe try to go through that process, but for her long-term health and her long-term growth, it just didn't make sense. She's redshirting. She'll miss the entire year.
What about just where you're gonna play? Obviously you got an opening at third, first, second.
Yeah.
Do you have an idea of who's playing where at this point?
I do. I can kind of run through the field if you'd like. At first base, we're gonna go right now with Michaela Work. She's a transfer from Kansas. We have 2 transfers from Kansas kind of fighting it out. I would say that she's probably a notch ahead right now of Morgan Wynn. So we'll go there. And Michaela's got 4 years left. So it's kind of exciting. She's a power hitting first baseman, right-handed hitter, has some thunder in her bat. Rachel Becker, transferred from Purdue, will play second base. And she's a preseason all-everything. She's an All-American from last year. She's hit over 400, well over 400 the last 2 years. That's not easy. I don't care what conference you're playing in. That's very hard to do. So she'll play second base. She'll lead off at this point. She's an exciting kid, makes some flashy plays, and just an amazing kid, to be honest. Just graduated in 4 years from Purdue with, I believe, mechanical or chemical engineering. So like, I can't even say those words, without stuttering, but it's kind of a wild deal. So she's really smart. Kylie will be back at short. Kylie looks as good to me as she's ever looked here. We've been through a lot, and she's just come back. She's more coachable this year than she's ever been. It's not like she's been a bad person to ever coach, but like her coachability this year has been crazy. Like I haven't seen one bad look from her to me. I'm sure she's frustrated at times. We all do. We all get frustrated, but she's just been so helpful to our newcomers. She's just led by example. She's been working her tail off, playing great shortstop. We have a luxury. We have 2 kids, and Rachel and her both that can both play short. And they both fought it out in the fall. And I told Rachel, I said, you didn't lose this. Like, you didn't lose this battle. We just feel like right now, it makes more sense to keep Kylie there and move you to second base. And Rachel's just been easy to work with. And so it just has made sense. Right now at third base, Megan Bloodworth, the transfer from Alabama. She has 3 years left. She's a really good defender. She's got some things going in her bat too that I think will be exciting. She had a great first year at Alabama, playing in the SEC. Played mostly second base, I think, but we've had her at third from day one. Fearless, tough kid, and one of my favorites. She has the craziest accent from Georgia, so I just love when she walks in each day. It's just awesome to hear her talk. So it's been awesome. Taylor Tuck will get the catching role to start with. Audrey will get plenty of time because we're going to need to keep Taylor healthy. So Taylor's had a great fall. She's been healthy, hasn't missed anything, which is a first. So we'll keep her healthy. And then in our outfield, we're going to start out with Talon Edwards, the freshman from Oklahoma City. Talon should be a senior in high school, for those of you who don't know. So what she's done here has been amazing. She's still got a lot of growth. She's got a lot of growth as a young lady. We're trying to help her each day. This is a whole new world to her, to be away from home. But it's been good. She's had way more good days than tough days. And so it's just, like I told Kylie, and I'll keep reminding some of these older kids, hey, you got to pull her along. She just, like any young kid, like she should still be in high school as far as her age goes and all that goes. But she's going to start. She's earned it. She's probably had some of the best numbers in the fall. So she'll play there. She can play anywhere. She's probably our number 3 catcher, to be honest. Her and Morgan Wynn have been doing that, but Talon's actually played there in the past. She can play in our infield if we had to. She's just going to need some more work to kind of clean up to play at this level. But she's a left-handed bat, can run okay. She's got some softball IQ that's off the chart. So shy factor, Steady Eddie. She'll be manning the center field area again. Just continues to do things, makes it look real easy. Kind of frustrates some people, I'm sure, at times because it looks so easy and can look like she's not working hard, but it's the farthest thing from the truth. I think she's going to have a big year, to be honest. I do. I just feel like she's just so matured and feeling good about herself and about our team. So, and then Caitlin Carwile will round it out in right field. Having another good fall and getting better in that outfield, and finally used to a role of just being a position player only. So super excited about her. I think our lineup's got a chance to have some real firepower, do some things that we haven't done in the past. So I'm excited about that. We have 2 other kids that I would say are kind of fighting to play right now. Morgan Wynn would be one of those, and Claire Tim. Claire Tim may be she could be a missing link piece for us. When I recruited Claire, she came from one of the toughest travel programs in the country, and I was just like, man, I need to get some of those kids. Like, they're just tough. And Patty gets some of those kids. They're from the Corona Angels, coached by Marty Tyson, and he is a bear. He is tough on these kids. A lot of times people would tell you he's unfair and rude and mean. You know that when you sign up. And she's a real quiet kid, and she wasn't like one of his main top 4 or 5 kids. Like, she was a good player on his teams, but wasn't like one of his, what I would say, top 4 or 5. And so I always kind of had this little worry of like, man, I hope she can come in here and handle this, because as much as I know her, I don't know her yet, because she's like hard, it's like pulling teeth to talk on the phone. And the growth that this kid has had here is been crazy. She came in here a string bean. She's already put on 20 pounds, could probably use another 20. She has a chance to hit for massive power. She has a kind of a stiff way about her, the way that she moves. It's kind of a stiff movement, but she seems to always be in the right place at the right time. We're working hard to try to help her improve there. But I just watch her each day, and I'm like, this kid is like trying to play, like right now. And I called her parents in the fall, and I said, hey, I don't know what your conversations are like with Claire, but mine are hard. I just wanted to tell you that, like, this kid hasn't had a bad day. Like, and I honestly, my perception of Claire was she's either going to leave at the semester or she's going to really play. And she's going to really play, because you just don't know. She's just handled all this stuff so well. I've been putting her at first base here this last month, because she's a better defender than both of the kids that we have there. And she's played there in travel ball. So if something goes awry there, she could be a late defensive replacement and a bat that we wouldn't go down a bunch on. Like, she's got a chance to really hit. So that would be a kid I would really keep your eye on. And then Morgan Wynn. She's got all of the tools. If we can keep her focused right, and I don't mean she's focused on bad stuff, just keep her mind right, and not worried about the outcome, just worried about having great at bats. She's got all the bat talent in the world, so she's fighting, and she's going to get at bats too. So and Lexi Kilfoyle will be the DP to start with at this point. So I would say that you've got 3 people in that group that you would, or 4. You think of like Lexi. You would think Michaela Wart could be one of those, Claire Tim, or Morgan Wynn. So we have some really good pieces here that I really like, and so it shapes up to be an exciting team.
You talked in your opening statement, you went over expectations with the team. I mean, that lineup seems pretty formidable. What are your expectations for this team?
You'd have to ask them. I think that's their deal. I'm just going to do what they tell me that they want to do. You know what I mean? I'm going to hold them accountable to what they want. So I think they can probably be a better, give you a better answer. I probably know what that is, but I think it's better if they tell you that. My job is to try to put them in the best positions. Our coaching staff's job is to put them in the best positions each day to win. Period. And that's what that's my expectation is that I'm gonna put them with our staff in the best spot to be the best version of them each day. And do I think that this team is really good? I do. Is this a World Series team? It is. It is. It's talented. Okay. So now it's up to them to figure out how they're going to stay together, keep each other accountable, and lead this team. It's their team. I'm just said this a lot. I'm just a placeholder here. Eventually I'm going to be out of here. Hopefully on my own terms. But like, this is their team. It'll always be their program. I'm just a small piece of that, and so I'm going to get out of their way. And just try to make sure that they're getting clear information, and that they can just go be the best.
You mentioned talent earlier. reclassifying kind of happens a lot in basketball. Does it happen a lot in softball? And what was that recruiting process like for your
Yeah,
perspective?
It's not. It's. I don't know of it happening a whole lot. I know that my buddy Tim Walton at Florida had a catcher last year when Julia Cottrell left. They were able to bring in a kid, which really helped them. And so you know, I haven't heard a bunch of it. I can remember a kid from Texas, Taylor Ellsworth, came in early, maybe my second year here. And they needed it. It was a big help on that team. And so I remember her doing that. But Talon's deal is a unique story. We weren't even recruiting her, to be very honest. And I don't think OU was. She had every school in the SEC was all over her. And she just never really showed interest in us, to be honest. And I just was like, hey, if you're not interested, I'm not interested. Like, it's just, I'm not mad. I mean, this place isn't for everyone. Or I should say this place is for everyone, but not everyone is for it, okay? So I got a phone call from her travel coach, and he asked me how come we weren't recruiting Talon, and I said, well, that's a weird question because I'm curious why Talon's never reached out or come to one of our camps. She's been invited, you know, or the way we invite, the way you can invite. That's probably not the best thing to say, but like we don't actually invite, but she's known that we'd like to have her at camp, okay? She's never come. So I see the social media stuff. I see her at every SEC school camps, and I'm like, okay, not gonna waste time on people that don't want to be here. So when I got that call, I was a little perplexed, and I said, if she's interested, have her call me, because I want to hear it from her mouth and not your mouth. And she called me just right away and said, hey, you know, I thought I wanted to go away. It's not what I want at this point in time. So we started talking. Then her dad got COVID. And I said, hey, why don't we wait till your dad as well, and then let's get your whole family up here, because I want to sit in front of your whole family face to face, and I want to talk, because we're late in the process here. And I'm out of scholarship. Like, I'm gonna have to like be super creative here, okay? I'm willing to do that if you're willing to come up here and talk. Unfortunately, her dad never recovered, okay? So I tried to support her the best I could. We talked a lot, and I mean a lot. I don't think I've talked to any kid in my time here like I've talked to Talon. And it was easy. She needed it. I guess I did too. And after a couple months had gone by, I just woke up at night one night and said, I wonder if they would even consider this. And my thought process was, this may be really good for her to have like me and John as a fatherly figure in her life. And it wasn't even about the softball at the time. I was just like, man, okay, what else can she do in high school? Nothing. She could win a third title. Okay, so what else can she do in travel ball? Nothing. She's already one of the most elite kids in travel ball. So it's like, maybe this is our moment to do this with a kid that I think could be beneficial to all of us. So immediately said no. They said no. And I was like, perfect. I'm not upset. Don't worry about it. A few days later, her mom called me and said, hey, I'd like to hear why and you know, and how. And I told him why, like I told you guys. I told him how, because I did the legwork to find out if we could even make it happen. It was a daunting task. It was 5 summer school courses at Southmore High School, and it was 2 collegiate courses at OCCC, and she did it all. And the original conversation that they wanted to do was, well, we'd like to, but we'd like to start in December. Play high school, try to win a third title, and I just politely told them that's not an option. And I said, and so if that's what's holding us back, then just stay in high school and chase that third title and everything. And I said, and I'll never say a word. Like, but I don't think it's fair to my team that's here that you're going to come in at the break when you're missing everything that we're going to be doing to turn into the team that we are today. And with all the change that we had, coaching and trying to do some foundational pieces inside, trying to change some of that stuff, I didn't want her to miss one of those days. And so I said, let's just scrap it. And a couple of days later, they called back and said, we're doing it. And I said, man, you talk about ultimate sacrifice and giving up that opportunity, and there's pressure because you feel like you're leaving your high school team and in limbo, but her high school coach thought it was a great idea as well. He was shocked at first, but then said, you know what, it's maybe really good. So that's kind of how that's gone down.
Did you expect her to be your starter when you signed her?
Yeah.
What does she show you at such a young age?
She's just a badass. Like, she just can play. Like, she just can play. She's not afraid of anything. She is not afraid of anything. She grew up with a tough dad. She grew up with a tough mom. She grew up with a sister who's played at Missouri, Texas Tech, in San Jose, and could flat out rake when she played, okay? And then she has a brother who signed out of high school with Arkansas to play baseball. Like, this family is a bat and ball family, and she's got a little nephew right now who's going to be the next stud. He's only 4, but I can tell you, I watched this kid, I'm like, whoa, like it's crazy. So she was the little kid that got thrown around. She got drugged every practice, every game. She was in every little ballpark running around, probably beating every little kid at every game that they wanted to ever play. She's just ruthless. Like, she's relentless. Does she need to grow up? Yes. Like, she's a young kid, so she'll mature here. And she's doing that here. But she's, from day one, she wasn't gonna not let me have her in the starting lineup. She was gonna make sure of that. And I didn't have her starting there first. I kind of wanted to piss her off. And Katie Lott, I left Katie Lott out too. I shouldn't. She's another kid that's fighting in that left field spot as a freshman. And she had a great fall, but Talon had even a better fall. Those two probably had 2 of the best falls. I'm not shocked. I didn't know where she would play, but I thought she would most likely play.
Kenny, you mentioned Kelly deciding to come back for a 6th year, which is huge.
Yeah.
Arguably the best pitcher in college softball right now. What can you tell us from what she told you? We'll get back to it, but just her decision, what she told you, and just the impact that had on you guys.
I just asked her after last year. I said, hey, I know you're going into your senior year, and I know you have 2 years left. I'm not going to pressure you. That's one thing I've learned, that if you start to pressure, it never ends well. They may say yes, and then they don't quite have the same life as they've had in the previous years. I've kind of, some of the stuff we go through with some of the COVID seniors. It's hard because they never expected to have this many years. So it's been a difficult task. But I didn't ask her one time in the fall, and then at the very end of the fall, I had heard, she had told a couple people, and so I think she actually had told John first, and he said, hey, have you told Coach? She goes, no, I'm gonna go tell him here tonight. And so John had told me, so I knew. And so when we were walking in and we were doing our end of the fall evals and just kind of talking like we do, and she got up and she was gonna walk out. I didn't say anything to her, and she goes, hey, did John tell you I'm coming back? And I said, you're coming back? And she looked at me, she goes, he told you? I said, yeah, he told me. I said, yeah, I'm so pumped. I said, I just want to make sure it's what you want. And so tried not to over played at, because I want her to focus on this year. That's it. She's got enough pressure on her. Hopefully she's not reading too many of the beautiful articles that are being written about her, because I know they're everywhere. Every time I turn around on Twitter and stuff like that, I see Kelly Maxwell. I'm just like, delete, go forward, go to the next one. So it's crazy. But you know, she's been workmanlike. We gave her some time off to start the year after having a long year and then playing on the national team and having a great summer. I think she's going to make it really hard on them to not have her on that team. She's made it very hard on them. She's doing some great stuff. And so probably the most impressive thing though is just the teammate. She's crazy. She's so quiet, but this pitching staff, I call it a cult. I don't know what you guys want to call it, but they're like the tightest group of people, and they're competing for innings in the most selfish position on any softball team, the hardest parents to deal with most of the time. But I somehow have these amazing parents and these amazing kids, and I'm lucky, and they pull for each other. And Kelly's out there coaching them and talking to them and grabbing Kyra and pulling her along and reminding Ivy that she's really good, and giving Lexi this, hey, you don't have to do it all. We can be really good together. And that's what Kelly is, and that's what she really brings, and what really makes her an elite person, not just an elite arm.
Obviously, her arm is the thing that opponents fear most, but her persona, the way she carries herself out there, how does that add to it? I mean, you've seen all kinds of pictures over the years, but how does that add to it?
You know, I used to love Sam Chow. I still love Sam Chow. Let me rephrase that. I used to love the way Sam Chow played. Like, that was what I thought Oklahoma State had to be like. And it was a mistake on my part, because it's not what everybody needs to be like, but every team needs some of that. Okay? But in the circle, I think everybody needs Kelly Maxwell mentality, persona. It never's rattled. It's wild. It's really wild. It's crazy. I just think of everything that she's gone through here, and that she's worked to get, and I'm just so proud of her, and just the way she handles this and handles failure, which doesn't happen a lot, but the way she handled that Texas game, the last game, you know, I think that's what drives her. I think that really is what drives her, because I think we all know we left something on the table, and that's why, you know, that's why you come back and you do it again, and you know, it's crazy to see her growth, and it's crazy to see the way she handles that. It's pretty remarkable to watch that.
When we talk about expectations, how do you see Kelly manage her expectations?
You know, I don't work with the pitchers on a day-to-day basis. You know, I obviously talk to all of them each day and have conversations, but you know, I think if Kelly wanted to talk about it, she'd come in and talk, but I don't really think she cares. You know what I mean? I mean, everybody's got an ego. Everybody's got that. You get it, but I just think she truly enjoys being a part of this program. I think she loves Stillwater. And she loves everything that she's got here, everything that she's earned. And so I think it's, you know, I don't know. I hope I'm not making a mistake by not bringing this stuff up, but like, I just don't think she needs it. She hasn't shown us that we have to go coach that. You know what I mean? She's just been brought up very, very well. Really good family. Seems to have everything in check. I always kid her because her mom still makes her take off her shoes in the family room and can't lean back in the couch. And I just laugh at her all the time. I said, hey, you can't sit like that here because your mom will be mad. And she just laughs at me, you know. And so she just was brought up right. She's brought up the way we should be brought up, with some discipline and toughness, and treat the person next to you like you want to be treated.
Some of the players in the fall were talking about the depth chart board, and how if they want to change it, you tell them to work harder. Is that something new for this year? And then I guess how's that idea sparked up?
Yeah, I don't tell them to work harder. When they come in and if they don't like it, I just tell them to change it. That's another note on my desk that I have up there for a long time. Like the depth chart board is what those people have earned, period. Like Kylie had to earn that again. You know, Tuck had to earn that again. Factor had to earn that again. Kelly had to keep earning that. Okay, like it is what it is. Like, you know what I mean? I keep it up because it's in my office. I don't ever shut my office door when I leave. I don't even a lot of times turn the light out. If they want to walk in and go look at that board, go look at it. Like, and then if you want to have a conversation, come in here and talk. You know what I mean? I want recruits to walk in and see that too. Like, I want them to. I want everybody to walk into our place with open eyes and go, okay, what's this all about? Well, here's what it's about. Every recruit tells me the two same things. I want to play, or I want to win, and I want to play. And it's usually in the other order. Okay? And that's okay. Okay? So now it's getting all these alpha females, these elite players to all buy in to the same thing. And that's what this team has done, and that's what this program has done. We had some kids leave this past year that I guess didn't want to compete. Okay, like I don't know what else to tell you, because we're winning and you're playing. You may not be playing as much as you like, but you're playing a lot. So I kind of think you don't want to compete. That's how I take it. Okay, because it's not like we're getting treated bad here. We're pretty good, and we feed you pretty dang good. And we do a lot of things. We love on you a lot. Maybe you don't like that. Maybe I need to love less. But that's not me.
Hey Kenny, you changed hitting coaches, bringing Whitney in. Can you just talk about the transition and what she brought to your hitters?
Yeah, I mean, the short story is it's been tough. I mean, it's been really hard. I think there's been two things that have been hard. It's a philosophy that is unique in a way. That there's some things that are in there. It's the same way I was taught to hit as a young kid, and through my life. It's got some extreme things that feel extreme at times to some of our kids. It's plan based. These are all things that we've never had, and we've talked about, but we've never practiced and truly executed because we just haven't put the importance on that. And I wanted that change. I think the hardest part, to be honest, is the fact that they've been used to a male hitting coach, and we brought in a female coach, and a lot of these kids are used to playing for males. These elite travel ball teams are generally coached by a male, so a lot of them are used to that. So that was a unique change for some of them, for a lot of them. Her personality's hard to get to know. She'll tell you it's not, but I'll tell you it is. But once you peel the layers back, it's special. Her love for these kids is crazy, but some of it's tough. Her knowledge is crazy, and she's strong. So so she's willing to fight anyone, you know what I mean, and stand up for what she believes in, and I love it. And I just felt like we needed that change. I love what we're doing. I love the plan. I love the things that are happening. Is it foolproof? No, but it's something that I think our kids have in a foundational piece that they can go back to in the hardest moments and go, all I got to do is this, and I know I can hit this pitch. All I got to do is stay with this plan, and I know I can be successful. And that's why I made the change. It's been the hardest thing I've done here up to this point.
Why would Whitney the one you ultimately settled on? What was it about her that resonated with you?
You know,
And not settled on, that sounds.
yeah. No, I get what you're saying. I mean, I knew I was going to make a change. I was working on that since last year even ended, like really trying to dive in to people out there, talk to some people that I really respect and knew could kind of keep that in their back pocket. And the trouble you come up with is there's not a lot of people out there. that you just go, oh, this program is not just like, this program is not like at a place where, okay, there's 20 people. Like there's a group of like 2 or 3. One of them I talked to was really young. I talked to Vanessa about it, and actually kind of tried to put her in some roles to do it. But at the end, I just was like, I need somebody that's done it at this level, been around this level of competition. Whitney's been around it at Arkansas and OU and Colorado State and Troy, and in the Pro League. The Pro League is where she really adopted this, her plan. She was working with a guy named Trip McKay, who used to play here, who actually interviewed for my job too. At the same time, he was the hitting coach at OU. OU still implements most of Trip's stuff, and then they kind of evolve off of that. So it was the foundational pieces. Whitney was in between jobs. She had walked away from Colorado State. You'll have to ask her that why, but walked away and was going to take a year off. And the Tulsa coach called me and said, "Hey, I heard you're looking for a video spot. I just hired Maddie Sue to be our spot. But like, if honestly, like, no disrespect to Maddie Sue, if I'd have known that this girl was available, I'd have hired her in a heartbeat." And I was like, okay. So then I called Trip, and Trip is like talking to the table, and he knows that. Like, he is really hard to talk to. Introverted, super smart, like crazy smart, nose hitting like the back of his hand. And I said, "Hey, I have Whitney here. She's kind of on our staff as a part-time video person. She's just joined us. Man, she's actually, Trip, she reminds me a lot of you. She's like quiet. She's hard to get to know. I've been very open about this. I didn't really like her at first when she was here because I felt like she was watching it and judging everything. And that's how some of our players felt too. And so it's something that she had to overcome. She wasn't. It's just her personality. But Trip, when I asked him, tell me about her, he talked to me for 17 minutes straight. I didn't even know that he was capable of that. And I told him, he said to me, he goes, "Are you still there?" I said, "Dude, I didn't even know that you could talk that long." And he just started to laugh. And he goes, "I think you're making a huge mistake if you don't hire her. She's ready. She knows my system better than I do. She's taken it to new heights. She's brought me stuff that I didn't have that I use." And I was just like, I'm being headstrong if I don't seriously consider her. And so I did. I interviewed 3 people, and it was a no-brainer. There was nobody who was more prepared, nobody that had the confidence, nobody that could show me stats and back up why she can do things here that would help us. And so that's kind of how it had gone down.
How have the stadium talks progressed in the year, I guess, since last year?
Yeah, it's moving. I've seen some things that are pretty cool. I'll just tell you that. I've seen some things that I'm like, whoa, this is big time. And it's coming. I can't give you a date. We don't have a dollar for it at this point that I'm aware of. We may. I don't know. It's going to be a big number. We know that of what's being built right down south. So we know it's going to take a big number to make it happen. The one thing I know about OSU is we're pretty good at watching what you do and outdoing you. And we seem to build things here that last, that have some power to last. So I'm going to tell you this, it's not consuming me, not one bit. We're winning without it. I don't necessarily think you have to have this top-of-the-art, state-of-the-art stadium to be great. Does it help? It really helps. And where I think it's going to really help us when we can finally announce and start to put it out there, postseason is going to be a major thing, to be able to host and not have to bring in porta potties and rinky-dink stuff like we've got to do to make it work, and we do. And it doesn't look rinky-dink when it's full. It just looks rinky-dink when you're walking around and see porta potties and things just like, oh. But I'm grateful that our administration, my boss, Jesse Martin, I'm grateful for what they do and how they make it happen and how they make it work. But postseason and then the development piece that we're gonna have in this new stadium will be second to nobody. I want that more than I want more seats, because that's how I recruit. And the final piece is the recruiting piece. Like, it should help attract younger elite athletes to want to be here from the get-go.
You say that it's a bit down the line, but are there discussions now of permanent upgrades to the current stadium?
No, I think we're talking about a new stadium. I think we are talking about a new stadium. So there's nothing really that we're gonna do. It wouldn't make a lot of sense at this point. I mean, we're doing some necessary painting inside and doing stuff like that, and furniture and stuff that we can move into a new place, you know, when that happens. But we're not doing anything to really upgrade at this point in time. We're beautifying things, you know what I mean? But we're not really. I don't think it'd be fiscally responsible to be doing a lot of stuff now. Plus, I need that money in my budget to do the things that we want to do to be great.
Maybe a couple more for Coach Gajewski.
When you got to know Lexi coming out of high school at Florida, and I'm just curious, what did she show you then, and then getting to recruit her again? What kind of element can she bring to the rotation?
You know, it's crazy. I was thinking back to when we were recruiting her when she was young, and honestly, like, I felt like I liked her more than Coach Walton did. Okay, like just in the initial part, and I think we had another arm committed at that time as well, young arm. They were really young, and so I watched her a lot, and I loved her because she's this monster. Like, she can pitch and she could hit. Okay, and the funny thing is, Talon Edwards was catching her when she was in the 8th grade on this same team out of Georgia. So the East Cobb Bullets. And so they go way back. It's kind of a funny thing. I saw a funny pic of Talon standing next to Lexi, and it was like this.
Yeah.
And it was a long time ago. It was kind of cool. But I'm a people guy. So anytime I saw her, when she committed to Bama, I was crushed. And I was like, damn, she was right down the road from Gainesville. You know, it wasn't that far. And I was like, how did we lose her? Because at that, like, I feel like we were way better than Bama. I mean, we were. I mean, we were winning the SEC and doing all the things you got to do, but something about Bama attracted her. And so I just always made it a point, if I ever saw her out and about, I'd say hi to her and talk to her, any of that kind of stuff. Not like I saw her all the time, but you know, if you don't ever burn a bridge, you still have a chance. And that's the way that I've always worked. I'm not gonna recruit a kid knowing that she may like school A, B, or C a little bit better, because when she goes to school A, B, and C and finds out it's not what they're telling her, she's gonna go, damn, I should have gone to OSU in the first place. And so that's part of the portal. I've been recruiting the portal before it was ever a thing, because I'm just gonna make sure we treat people right. So when now it's come around that it's legal to do this, and they can, that it's easier. It's not easy, but it's easier.
Kenny, you guys obviously mentioned the Texas game a little bit ago and how close you were to that championship series, but still, to make it a 3rd consecutive year and get as far as you guys did, what do you feel like this team took away from what last year's team did?
I think we learned a lot. I think I learned a lot as a head coach, and I hated that it was at the expense of that team. But it's part of the process, and I get how hard it is to go to OKC. I get how hard it is to do it 3 times in a row. I've been a part of a lot of teams that have been in that Final 8 in my baseball time and my softball time, and so that's probably why I don't talk about it a whole lot to our team, because it's in my mind, we're good enough, to go. So I'm just we'll see you there. Like, that's how we're gonna be. But I think I had not watched that play that we threw away and the ball ran to the wall and everyone scored until I was doing this year at our coaches convention. I did a classroom talk. It was 2 days, and Coach Walton and I and one of our other best friends, Bergie, we did this talk, and we just did 2 days of just defense. And I pulled that play up during the deal, because we're like live in there. So I'm on YouTube. I'm like, hey, I know I can find this play. I need to show this play because we botched it. We had every great intention. Okay, and so so I showed that play, and I was just like, the boil in my body was crazy. I was like, this is why I don't watch things, because I didn't really need to watch that again. But it just reminded me that we're okay. I saw the score, and I was like, we were up 5-1 in the third with Kelly Maxwell in the circle, and we lost. We had runners on base the whole game, couldn't get them in. We made a bad play, one bad play, but the year was so hard on us internally. Our staff was crumbling in a way that most people didn't see and wouldn't see, because we're able to hold it together. And I felt it, so I was really hyper focused on that. And I think it kind of went over into our team some. I think they felt that too, because they love all of us. That play took the emotional equity that we had built up over 8 years or 7 years at that time. It took it all away, and we had nothing to go back to. And it's when it hit me that I need to make some changes, not coaching changes. I'm not even talking about that. I need to make foundational changes in this program: toughness, leadership, clarity, and so I think those are the things we take out of this, and those are the things that we've learned. And you'll have to ask Kelly and Kylie, the kid, and Shai that are back here. I mean, they lived it on that field. You know what I mean? Like, I lived it in the dugout, but I could hide. They were standing out there and had to weather that. And so what we've gained is that experience that they'll face very few things in life harder than that moment, for sure. Most people face hard things, but you're alone, or you're with your family. Like, they face it in front of 2 million people watching and 14,000 there live. Like, it's rough. And but I wouldn't change it. I wouldn't change it. Did it hurt? Does it still hurt? Yeah. I don't think it'll ever go away. It won't matter when we win our first title. That will always hurt. And it really hurts for those guys. Like, because we, in a way, like, I just take the brunt of that. I take it as I failed them in that time. I didn't throw it. I didn't not catch it. I didn't whatever. But it's my deal. And so those are the things that you go to bed with. Those are the things that you look in a mirror and say, okay, what do I need to do to be a better leader, be more clear, and make sure that we have some foundational pieces: the cowgirl way, relentless excellence, and passionate, and define those and give these girls everything that they need to be great.
It should be all from